All right, so welcome to the 2023 Digital Marketing Planning Session for insurance agents. This is something that we've rolled out for the first time this year. What we really want to do is give you a lot of clarity with your marketing going into 2023. So this is really, again, an interactive workshop. It's not just me talking to you. You will get more out of this if you put more into this. So let me just emphasize that if you just hope to sit and listen and collect by osmosis, this is going to suck. If you'll take the time to work through the things that I'm going to walk you through, I think you'll find that it can be very, very revolutionizing to your 2023 overall performance within your agencies. And so there are two resources that you are going to need today. I'm going to put these into the chat box again one more time. The first one is going to be your workbook. And again, it's a Google Doc. So when you pull it up, you're going to want to come up here to where it says File, and you want to make a copy. The second thing that we're going to pull up is going to be this worksheet. Same thing with this is when you pull up this worksheet, you're going to need to make a copy of that as well. Okay, so let me put that one in here for you. The Billy Davis, how are you doing today?
I'm good, sir. How are you?
I'm doing great. It's good to see you.
Awesome to be here.
All right. So you're going to need both of those resources as we get going today. So let's kind of dive into where we're headed. So what we're going to cover today is we're going to look at setting your goals for 2023. How many leads are you going to need to hit your revenue targets this year? We're going to look at 3 fundamentals of marketing success. We're going to look at how to optimize your website for conversion, not only this coming year, but going forward. Obviously, those of you that are captive agents, it's going to be a little different. So we're going to talk a little bit about how you do that as well on your captive agent sites. We'll talk about the big picture of the online marketing channels that are available to you that you need to be tapping into if you're really going to maximize your lead flow. We're going to look at the latest trends that you need to focus on in 2023. And then we're going to help you develop a custom action plan based on where you are now and where it is that you're trying to get to, so you know what you need to do next. What's that next appropriate step to bring everything together? So that's where we're headed today. What I'm going to ask of you is to put your whole attention into this. You will get out of it what you put into it. So let's turn off our cell phones. I've got mine upside down here on my desk, so I'm not paying attention to it. Turn off your Facebook. And here's the real issue. If you are serious about getting better results next year, then these next 60 to 90 minutes could be very revolutionary for you. And that's really what we want this to be. Mike, I just saw you come in. How are you doing? And then again, this is going to be more of an interactive workshop. So if you want to turn on your camera, that's fine. I'm going to ask questions. And so I would love to see your face when we're talking, but not everybody loves to do that. It's okay if you're at home in your pajamas. I could care less. So anyway, with that being said, let's kind of dive in. If you stay till the end, I do have a couple of bonuses for you that I'm going to give to you. One is our infographic. It's the insurance agency marketing ecosystem. We're going to talk a lot about that today. And then also the ultimate internet marketing checklist for insurance agents. So we'll have both of those things if you're here. And okay, so Jeremiah, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to email that to you if I can here. So Mike, how are you doing today?
Good, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Boldness gets rewarded.
What's that?
I said boldness gets rewarded. You're the first one to turn your camera on.
Faint hearts never won fair ladies.
Yeah, those of you that want me to email that to you, throw your email in the chat. There you go. Thanks, Amy. Don't you all be spamming each other. Eric, how are you doing? We haven't talked for a couple of months here. Doing well. All right, Jeremiah, which email address did you want me to send that to for you? So I don't have my email pulled up right now. Okay, thanks. So my earlier question is, everybody got their holiday shopping done?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Got it done before Thanksgiving.
excellent. Years ago, I was a police officer, and I was notorious for being in Walgreens at 2 a.m. Christmas morning to do my Christmas shopping. So I've gotten a little better now, but not much. All right. So everybody should have that that worksheet. We're going to dive into that here in a little bit. Again, at the end, I'll give you my little goodies here, just some informational things you can use to kind of assess where you're at in your overall marketing. This is interactive, so anytime you need me to stop, back up, any of those kinds of things, just feel free to jump in there. So first of all, most of you know me, not everybody does. So let me give you a little background on me. Who am I? Why should you listen to me? Those of you that, some of you just met me as we purchased ABM from John back here in the last couple of months. My name's Carl Willis. I've been marketing online since 1997. I started selling vases on eBay in the dial-up days, and that was my first foray into internet marketing. I'm a former financial advisor. I had my own firm for 12 years, Series 6, 7, 63, 65, life, accident, and health. So that's kind of my background. Creator of The Marketing Classroom, author of Internet Marketing for Small Business. That's a book you can download on Amazon. International keynote speaker. I tend to speak on business growth and lead generation, and am known as a go-to expert for agency digital marketing strategies. And then, of course, we work with local agents throughout the U.S. Some of the agents we work with are on this call. So Mike down here in the corner is on this call. Paul up here in the top right corner, Garrison Kimberly, U.S. Home and Auto out of Baltimore. These are just a few of our clients that we work with every day. So we work with a wide variety of both captive and non-captive agents. And so that's kind of our mixture here. So what I want to get into first is I want to throw out a question to everybody. What's the hardest part about marketing your insurance agency online?
You get lost.
Explain that.
Well, I mean, there's so many that, I mean, you can't swing a dead cat without hitting an insurance agency, either virtually or brick and mortar. So it's hard to get noticed, when you're out there online. Just hard to show up.
Okay, yeah, it's a crowded field, and I think, is that what you're alluding to, Jeremiah? Everybody's online. Sue, how about you in the real estate side? What's the biggest challenge of marketing your real estate agency online or for you as an agent?
Well, right now, I think there's so much exposure because real estate had such a big boom the last year and a half or 2 years, as most people know. And now, we probably will see a change and see agents drop off that joined 2 years ago thinking this is the job, because unless you've been in it a while, you're not going to understand. But yeah, I would definitely say, which one do you put most of your eggs in your basket when it comes to marketing
Okay.
on the internet? Because it's also costly.
Yeah, absolutely. Good. Someone else.
Yeah, I
What's
was
the hardest
gonna.
part about marketing?
Yeah, this Jeremy. I'm sorry, I had a problem finding my unmute button, but yeah, that part is I think everyone alluded to, but yeah, for me, everybody's online, so it's kind of very congested, so it's hard to kind of stick out.
Okay, good. How about some of the rest of you? Eric, Sarah, Amy?
I think just finding the time to get the content together is the hardest part for my office.
Okay. Good. Okay, good stuff. Consistency of posting. Okay, good. So one of the things we're going to talk about today is what moves the needle, what doesn't move the needle. There may be some things that if you were to repurpose some of those energies, might be more effective for you in the long run. And so we'll get into some of those things. So next thing you need to do, if you haven't already, be sure and download the workbook. You can download it here at this link, agentbrandingandmarketing.com/workbook. When you get there, just come up here, click file, make a copy. And that way you've got your own copy you can mark up and use. And that'll be yours to keep, guide you through what we're going into. So what we want to get into is first of all, the why. Why do we need to get clear? Why do we need to do a marketing planning session? What's the importance of this? And the real importance of this is there are just way too many options. And if you are not clear about what you're trying to accomplish, if you're not clear on what it really takes to meet your revenue objectives, what's going to happen is you're just going to literally go into a brain meltdown because there's just so many options. There's just too many moving pieces, too many things, too many people vying to spend your budget. Everybody's got the perfect solution for you. And so what we want to do is we want to bring some clarity to that. Because what really happens is you've got this entire ecosystem available to you. And you'll see here, we've got 8 different steps listed out. We've got them in what we consider to be the most important to the least important numerical order when it comes to driving revenues. But I want you to notice under each of these categories, there's multiple choices there as well. And so if you don't have that clarity, if you're not sure where you're headed, it's very easy to drown in overwhelm or to be spending resources in things that aren't going to move the needle to the degree that you need to move the needle to each and every month. And so what ends up happening with that is you're going to make a major investment in marketing if you're serious about growing your agency. But if you're going to make that serious investment in your marketing, we want to make sure that that investment counts, that it's producing a positive return on investment. And so part of what I'm going to be really working with you on today is really getting clear on what you track, how you track it, so that you know if I'm putting $1 out there in marketing, am I getting $2 or $3 back based on that expenditure? And then finally, most of you have probably been through this situation where you've spent a lot of money on marketing and had nothing to show for it. Often when we get agents coming to us here at ABM, that's the initial conversation. Listen, I've been paying money for this stuff and I don't actually know that it's been producing results. And what's kind of interesting, especially for those of you that are State Farm agents, oftentimes we can get into your Mirror's dashboard and see, yeah, you've spent a lot of money and there's been a lot of activity, but it hasn't moved the needle any. And so that's the thing we don't want to happen, is that you've spent money and you have nothing to show for it. So again, this is why we're going to teach you how to track, how to measure, and how to really be on target with what it is you're after. So that brings us to the next thing here. You're going to fail if you don't have a clear plan. You could end up overspending, or even worse, you could underspend and underperform. And so what we want to make sure is that you hit your performance targets, you hit your revenue targets, that the whole reasons you're in business for yourself, you're participating in that and you're realizing that day in and day out. And so that creates for us an opportunity to gain clarity, an opportunity to do things differently than perhaps we've done before. And so that opportunity is to create a clear plan with clear goals, clear targets, and clear key performance indicators, so that we've got clarity at every step of the way. I had a mentor years ago that used to say this: if you aim for nothing, you're going to hit it 100% of the time. And the whole point being, if you don't know what you're aiming for, if you don't have clear vision for what you're going for, you're always going to miss the mark, just simply because you don't know what the next appropriate step is. What we're really going to focus on, though, is how do you generate enough leads to hit your targets and to keep your crews, or not your crews, but your team working 365 days a year. And so that's the thing we want to make sure we're doing, that you get a great return on your investment, no matter what that investment is. And so when we put all those things together, what happens is we create success. And so our objective today is to maximize your lead flow and help you hit your sales goals for 2023. And that's the greatest accomplishment we can make today. So we're going to start just what we've been talking about with clear goals. And so little quote I want to give you from Brian Tracy: success is goals, all else is commentary. And so we don't want to just be creating commentary. We want to be creating actual results. When you don't have goals, you're kind of like the sailboat on the water. You're going to drift wherever the current takes you, but you're not going to get anywhere. Certainly not fast. But once you have goals, what happens is you get wind in your sails, and you're going to move forward faster. So I'm going to walk you through a couple of things after we talk through this study. And this is, to me, one of the most insightful studies when it comes to clarity in your goal setting. So in 1979, there was a study of Harvard grads. What they found was 84% had no specific goals, 13% had goals, but they weren't written down, and 3% had clear written goals and action plans to accomplish those goals. And so when they went back to study this group of graduates, the 13% who at least had goals were earning on average twice what the other 84% were earning. But even more staggering is the 3% that had clear written goals were earning on average 10 times as much as the other 97% put together. And so there is something to be said for writing things down, for anchoring them. And that's why we've given you the workbook. That's why we've given you the planning sheets. We want you to get these things written down. There is something subconsciously that kicks in and brings a lot more focus of your energies and of your mental efforts when you get things written down. And so we want to encourage you to do that today. So we're going to deal with a goal setting framework here in the next little bit. We're going to create some written goals and plans. And then as you're looking at this, I want you to also realize you need to set a 1-year goal, a quarterly goal, a monthly goal. Always have these goals broken down into chunks. And then you need to have a stopping point that you evaluate at regular intervals, whether that's at the end of each year, the end of each quarter, so that you know what you need to adjust going forward. Now, I don't know how you are in your agencies. In my business, I do a monthly review of my financials, of our sales targets, of our retention targets. But then at the end of every year, I take actually most of the week between Christmas and New Year's to really go back and look at what worked, what didn't work, and what key adjustments do we need to make going forward. And I want to encourage you to do that as well. So here's where we're going to start. This is time to get active and participate. So there's 4 questions I want you to start with. What is your revenue target for 2023 in your agency? And then I want you to do a little math and figure out what that looks like on a monthly basis. And then your third question is how many calls, or you could even put the word leads there, is that going to require for you to hit that target? And then what is your average transaction value? And so we're going to do a little math. We're going to help you figure out if you're going to hit those revenue targets, what's the lead flow really have to look like based on your closing percentage and based on your average transaction value. And we want this to be realistic. So, you know, if your agency has done $500,000 this year or $1 million this year, then what's a reasonable next step for you? So if you did a $500,000 this year and you tell me you're going to do 3 million next year, that's probably not realistic. So let's make sure that we're realistic on what we're putting into our plan. So when you've answered those 4 questions, just put a 1 in the chat for me so I know that you're tracking with us here. Not a problem, Amy. We'll have this recorded and tell Bob to get better. Yeah, put a 1 in the chat when you've got those answered. Okay, so what is your revenue target for 2023? What is that number monthly? So if we take that revenue target, we divide it by 12, what number are we looking at? How many calls or leads will that require? And then what's your average transaction value on closed business? All right. So let's give you this example here. Let's say your revenue target is 1.5 million for the year. That means your revenue per month needs to be 125,000. If your average transaction value is $1,000, then you're going to need 125 transactions per month to hit your revenue targets. Give me a 2 in the chat if that makes sense. Okay. So what we need to answer then is how many leads are you going to need based on your conversion rate from lead to application? So somebody just jump out and tell me, what's the conversion rate in your office right now? Where are you at?
About 40% of our opportunities go to close 1.
Okay, so you're at 40, 15%. Okay. Anybody else? What's kind of your conversion rate? 20%? Okay. Good. So what we're going to do is we're going to divide our lead target by our conversion rate. This is what that looks like. So if your average conversion rate from caller to new application is 30%, what you're going to do is you're going to need to multiply your leads to get your call target based on your conversion rate. So it's going to take 308 calls at a 30% conversion rate to get 92 new applications per month. And so the reason we need to know what this number looks like is because that's going to tell us where our marketing really should be focused on. So to kind of help you with this, that's what the worksheet is for. We're going to switch over to the worksheet. You should have a copy of that already, and we'll work through this together. So we're going to take kind of the same thing we just talked about. We're going to do a 1.5 million in revenue. That means our revenue target each month is 125,000. And we're just going to call our average application value $750. So that means we would need 167 total applications every month to hit that revenue goal. Now, right now we've got the conversion rate at 65%, but let's kind of take where we were at 15, 20, 40. So let's just call it 25%, which means you need 667 leads every month to hit that revenue target at a 25% conversion rate. So type 1 in the chat if you're following that arithmetic. Okay, good. So what this worksheet is going to allow you to do is play with the variables so that you've got a couple of variables you can control. One is, what's closed business worth to you? So maybe what you need to focus on is how to raise the ticket value, if you will, of your closed business. Are you cross-selling? Are you upselling? Are you bundling services? What are the things you're doing that can raise that revenue price point for you? So that's one of the things that could change if we just increased that outcome by another $100 to 850. Well, now we only need 588 leads to hit our revenue target at a 25% conversion rate. I think one of the biggest things we can control is how to improve our conversion rate. So if we take it from 25% to Mike's at 40% right now, Mike only needs 368 leads to hit that same number, as opposed to somebody who's converting at 15, 20, 25%. Give me a 2 in the chat if that makes sense to you. Okay. So these are all things outside of the digital marketing. These are the in-house things that you can utilize to make sure that you're maximizing the lead flow that you do in your marketing. Are you getting the maximum revenue out of it? And are you converting at a higher rate? If your conversion rates are low, maybe you need to think about sales processes within your office. I know Mike, just because I work with him closely, has a 12-step follow-up process with all of his leads. And I would encourage you, if you haven't watched his case study on our YouTube channel, go out and listen to it. Very insightful for what he's doing to get those higher conversion rates. The next thing that we're going to take a look at in this worksheet, I'm just going to kind of walk you through it and then we'll jump back to the presentation. We've also given you budget allocations. So if your revenue target is 1.5 million, you've got to decide what percentage of revenue is going to be your marketing. So we've got 10% here. 6 is kind of a rule of thumb. What we always suggest is 3% be kind of your minimum no matter what. So if you're going to spend 3% on marketing each year for a $1.5 million revenue total, that means you're going to put $45,000 into your marketing over a 12-month period. And that's going to be a marketing budget of $3,750 all in. So that includes your paid ads, your ad management, your SEO, your billboards, whatever all you're doing. All of your marketing expenses are included in that. Now, there's another allocation that you're going to break out, and that is how much goes to online marketing, how much goes to offline marketing, and how much is allocated to your repeat and referral business. So Sue, in your case, as a realtor, you're going to probably go a little higher on your repeat business allocation because those referrals are going to be a big source of your business. So you might end up changing yours to, 15% of your total budget, and then dropping your online marketing to 65% to make those numbers work. So what this spreadsheet is going to do is it's going to give you your total expenditure for each category of marketing throughout the year. So if we're doing 65% to online, here's the total expenditure. Here's the total expenditure to offline, total expenditure to repeat business. And then we're going to break it out by month. What are you going to spend each month in each of those categories? So you've got a percentage going to your online marketing, a percentage going to your offline marketing, and then a percentage going to your repeat business. And so this will give you some specific numbers to be working in as you go. And then with your allocations on your online marketing, you want to figure out now how much is going to which of these different things. So we've got, 35% is going to SEO, 55% to pay-per-click or local service ads, if those are available in your area, 5% to your display and retargeting. So that's the breakout of your online budget as well. And then we've got that broken out by month, so you can see what those expenditures would look like. Anybody have any questions on this particular worksheet, your marketing budget planner? All right, everybody else good? Okay, Mike's good, Jeremiah's good. Sue, the sheet is at agentbrandingandmarketing.com. I'm going to type this in here for you. And you'll need to make a copy of it. Okay, Eric, you good with that worksheet? All right, excellent. So again, play with that, plug your numbers in, see where you need to be. One of the things you may find out is you may not be spending enough for what your revenue targets are. There may be places where you need to change that up, change up your allocations. Maybe you're going to find that you are putting too much towards places that don't move the needle far enough for you. And that's really what we want this to be, is to give you a realistic framework of what you should be spending and how those things should be allocated as well. Next thing we want to get into is your average cost per lead source. And we've got this broken out by auto, homeowners, and life, to where you can figure out what is your average cost per lead in each of those areas. And you can figure that out through pay-per-click, if you're using Google local service ads, if you're doing repeat referral business, and then you can figure out a blended average. So here's really the way you're going to work this out is, for those of you that are State Farm agents, your Mirus tracking is going to show you, where your leads are going inside your system. So you can somewhat determine, hopefully, where did those come from? Did that come from a pay-per-click campaign? Was that from our SEO? Was that a referral? Obviously, your cost per lead is going to be lower for referrals and for organic leads that come in. People that come from your organic Facebook, Instagram, search engine optimization, those kinds of things. Your pay-per-click leads are always going to be a little more. And then you want to figure out what's your average transaction value by those verticals. So am I making more money on homeowners versus auto versus life? If I'm making more money on one as opposed to the other, can I afford to spend more to land that lead and still be profitable? Because again, what we're trying to create is a virtual ATM, if you will, with your business. If I put $1 here, am I going to get $1.50 back, $2 back, $3 back? And that's going to tell you what your spend can be to still land a profitable client based on lead cost. Next thing we've got on here for you is a marketing calendar. Sue, obviously you'll want to change this for real estate, but basically every month pick an emphasis and then run that emphasis across your different modalities of marketing. So maybe it's auto insurance in January, home insurance in February, March is life insurance. Figure out what that marketing calendar looks like. Don't leave it haphazard. Already have a plan in place, already be knowing where your initiatives are during those times. And then finally, what special offers could you put in on the calendar as well that you can mail out to your existing client base? So that might be some kind of service offering. That might be some kind of little perk if they stop by the office. But again, have this planned out before you hit 2023, so you know where you're going with your overall marketing. So any questions so far off the worksheet? Going once, up, there we go. Oh, you're welcome. Thanks, Mike. Okay, so let's keep going here. Let's talk about goals. So what is your goal for 2023? This is your revenue goal. And then how many leads will you need each month to get there? So once you've got that answered, give me a 1 in the chat. And then a couple of you jump out and just tell me what's your goal for 2023? How many leads are you going to need to get there each and every month? Okay. And even if you've just got your, what I'm going to call your spitball numbers off of the spreadsheet, what's the spreadsheet tell you? Or if you don't want to discuss revenues, just tell me how many leads you need each month to hit your target. Just remember, you'll get out of this what you put into it. Oh, gotcha. Okay. Well, after the webinar, you can download that again.
Okay. This is Jeremiah. I was just going to say, well, mine is, I don't know. I got my goal. I guess it's 700,000 is the, I guess, revenue. And
Okay.
then I did try to kind of configure it using your chart that you had, but I don't know whether or not it came in to be accurate.
Okay. Well,
I didn't know if you wanted to run a sample for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's use you as our example here. So let's run your numbers if you're good with that.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. And then Eric, you need about 450 leads a month. Okay, so 62.5. What's your average application value? So if you close business, what's kind of an average?
About 800, and it should be 700,000. I'm sorry.
Okay. And then per closed business, like what's the average? If you close one,
800.
what's that worth to you?
About 800.
About 800? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you would need 73 applications a month to stay on target, except let's change this up. Right now, you're converting at 15%, right?
Correct.
Okay. So you need about 486 leads a month to hit that target.
Okay.
Generate those 73 apps.
Thank you.
Okay, good. All right, any other questions on that? Okay, so you've got some numbers. Again, these are, rough kind of spitball numbers, but it's going to give you a good idea of where you're at and what kind of lead flow you actually need to have coming in to hit those targets. So let's get into some fundamentals here. There's three things we have to deal with. One is the message. What is it we're saying? And number two is who are we saying it to, the market? And the third is the media. How are we going to do it? What modality are we going to use to communicate effectively with that audience? And so, second thing we have to do, now that you've got your goals clear, on the external side of things, updating your marketing message is part of what's going to help you convert at a higher rate. And it's also what's going to help you generate more leads at a higher volume. So your ability to match up to the intent of the individual and the language of the individual is going to be key in increasing that lead flow and that conversion. And so what we have to talk about is who is your ideal customer. The marketing term that we use is avatar. Avatar is not the movie that's out in theaters. Avatar is actually the profile of the individual that you're trying to communicate to in your marketing. And what we're going to kind of walk through here is every avatar has pains and frustrations, goals and desires, fears and implications, and dreams and aspirations. And we need to understand what those are if we are going to be effective in our marketing. And so I've just given you a breakdown of what this might look like for you if we were to define who's your ideal customer avatar. Well, first of all, are they a homeowner? Are they 35 plus years of age or older? Typically, it's going to be the female that's making the household business decisions, married with 2 to 3 kids, head of household, $65,000 annual household income, perhaps family oriented is big, reliable, easily frustrated, likes to please people and expects the same in return. They may be into things like gardening, crafts, and arts. They live in the suburbs, they're upper middle class neighborhood. They take an interest in community things. So that might be a profile of your avatar. What are their pains and frustrations? They're overwhelmed by demands on their time. They don't feel valued. They would like more balance in their life. They're too busy to deal with it. They're worried that they're one crisis away from a major disaster, either financially, personally. So they're always living on that bubble. Some of their fears and implications, they don't want to be ripped off or overcharged. They don't want to pay too much for something they could have gotten cheaper elsewhere. They have increased liability exposure. They're concerned about their career stability. They want to make sure their children have the best opportunities. They are leery of hidden charges and fees on their bill. Their goals and desires, they want a beautiful home. They want to take care of their family. They want more income, money, or wealth. They want to live in a nicer, more luxurious house. They want to drive a nicer car. They want their kids to be healthy, happy, successful. They want to spend more time with their family, travel and have fun with their family. They want the respect and approval of friends and family and relatives. And most of all, they want peace of mind. Now, the reason we want to go through all of this is because it's going to allow us to speak more precisely to that individual. And the reason this is so critical is if you can see Joe Jones through Joe Jones's eyes, then you can sell what Joe Jones buys. And so we've got to learn to speak Joe's language, and we've got to learn to communicate to Joe correctly if we intend for Joe to really become our customer. And so let me just kind of give you the thought process behind this. You know, here at ABM, we have kind of a demographic that describes our average client. Our average client is a tenured insurance agent. The majority of them have been in the insurance business for over 10 years. More of them have been in the 15 to 20-year range often. Most of the agents we work with are over the age of 40. There are a few exceptions. Most of them have philanthropic things that they're passionate about. There's hobbies that they're passionate about. Their biggest frustrations is they've tried lots of marketing things. They've lost a lot of money along the way, and they're looking for the one thing that is going to move the needle for them. And then there's a caveat. If they're a captive agent, they realize that their greatest competition is the other agents that work for their company. And so then the other pain point is they need to be able to set themselves apart in a way that the other agents are not. And so that's the avatar that we deal with. So when we write our marketing material, when we do webinars, when we do talks, when we get on calls with an agent, we're going to speak that language because that's the language of our best customer. And that's what I want you to think about. Sometimes if we talk about who's your best customer, it's easy to go, well, everybody's my best customer. But that's not really true. There is a certain type of individual that is a better customer for you than anybody else. So when I was a financial advisor, my best customer was a male over the age of 40 years of age who had kids in high school, who was a small business owner. Generally, his wife was a small business owner as well. They typically had investments in land, real estate, and the stock market. And so that's who I was looking for. And their pain points were dealing with tax implications and stability in volatile markets. And so that became my way of communicating with my potential prospects. I wouldn't talk to the guy that was going to bring me a $2,000 IRA. I was going to talk to the person that was really looking to protect wealth and was really looking to have a legacy nest egg that they could pass on to the next generation. And that's what I built my business around. And so the same thing is true for you. A lot of people could be your customer, but there are certain types of individuals that are better customers for you than others. And so what we have to learn to do is speak the language of that ideal customer. Give me a 1 in the chat if that makes sense. Okay, great. So now that we've figured out who it is we're talking to, we've got to craft our message. What is it that we're going to say to them? And so here's another participation point for you, is I want you to write down the answer to these questions. There's 3 specific things you need to list for each one. The first question is this: why should someone choose to do business with you versus your competition? And I apologize for the spelling error on that. Second one is, what benefits do you offer your target customer avatar that they are going to resonate with? And so I want you to come up with 3 answers to each of those questions. Give me a 1 in the chat when you've got those answered. Why should someone choose to do business with you versus your competition? And number 2, what benefits do you offer that your target customer is going to resonate with? And then give me a 1 in the chat when you've got that. And then I'm going to ask a few of you to share with us what you've got. And again, give me a 1 when you're finished with this piece, just so I know we're ready to move on. Okay. Let's get some feedback. Somebody jump out and tell me, why should someone choose to do business with you versus your competition?
I put just, I guess, a lot of options or just multiple options that we're able to provide, that I'm able to provide, or our agency is able to provide, from PNC, Life and Health, Financial Services, planning as far as investment products, also mortgages, and also bank products, just, to name a few.
Okay, so Jeremiah, will you allow me to kind of push on you a little bit?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I'd really like to see you tighten that up, because the problem is, the agent down the street under the same flag you're under probably can offer me the same things.
Gotcha.
So what I need to know is, why you?
Okay.
What makes you better? Why are you the better choice?
Gotcha.
So work with me on that. Give me a couple of ideas. Why you?
I mean, well, there could be a number of different reasons. Obviously, service expectations. I guess, staffing, which I know will be a lot of these will be, I feel like, to be probably a little bit too general, more than anything. So I'm probably have to dig a little bit deeper and think about. So you may have to come back to me on that one.
No, I'm gonna keep pushing on you. I'm gonna help you dig.
Okay.
So you're right. It's too general. What I'm asking is, why you?
Gotcha.
Why are you the go-to? Why are you the expert? Why would I want to work with you above anybody else?
That's a good one. I would say relatability, understanding.
Okay, so let me stop you there.
Okay.
What makes you relatable?
Just yeah, I probably should have let somebody else go, but I'm gonna just say.
Oh, no. You're perfect.
Yeah, this is a lot deeper thought than I thought it would be, but I would say relatable, just from a standpoint of understanding the customer need, understanding that it's not a kind of a one size fit all.
No, now
approach.
you're going the wrong way. You're going
They're
the
going the
wrong way.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so I'm going to help you here.
Okay.
And fortunately, because I run your marketing, I've got some talking points for you. Okay. So who's the young lady that's on all the pictures with you?
That'll be my wife.
That's what I figured, right?
Right.
Part of what makes you relatable is you're madly in love with her. I can see that in the pictures, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Does she work in the office there with you?
Yeah, she does.
Okay, so it's a family business, right?
That is correct.
All right. So here's part of your relatability. We understand family. My wife and I love to be together, so much so that we decided to make do business together. And so when you come to us, you're not just going to get one perspective. We're going to be able to understand things as a couple, because that's how we run our business. Second thing about that is, people they want a meaningful, loving relationship, and they want people to be able to see that. Well, that's pretty evident in the pictures that I know we've run for you in your marketing campaigns. And the reason I say that, you have to remember that even insurance business, people still use emotional reasons to make those decisions. So the way you win this competition is I have to feel good about you. And once I feel good about you, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to validate that with facts. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that does.
So I come across your marketing and I go, man, that's a cute couple. They seem like they're in love. Oh man, they're insurance. Okay. So I start to explore a little bit more about you. And I see that you're family oriented and I see you're involved in the community. Well, now all of a sudden I start to feel really good about you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
And because I feel really good about you, I'm willing to start the business conversation with you. So let's go back here a little bit, and I'm just going to help you with these top three. Why should someone choose to do business with you versus the competition? First and foremost, I'd put on there, my office is a family-oriented office.
Got it.
Second thing I'd put on there is we put priority on helping our customers and their families get the most out of life. So what you're really saying in your marketing is you as a husband and wife don't have to be stressed out over financial things because my wife and I are here to help you navigate all those things. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Because in your office, are you Series 6 licensed?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you're talking to people about what's happening in the markets. You're talking to them about their retirement. You're talking to them about, protecting their home and their auto and life and, mortgage rates are going up. You got lots of talking points and I'm just going to give you a little of my playbook. I opened my financial advisory firm in July of 2001. And I was transferring clients over from my previous office all the way up through October of 2001. As you'll recall, September 11th happened in the middle of that. And so my advertising that I put out in the market was very simple. And it said, are you suffering from broker neglect? If you haven't heard from your broker for a while, give me a call and I'll walk you through these volatile markets. I built an entire business off of that ad copy. And so part of what you have to do is you have to figure out, Jeremiah, what is it that your avatar needs to hear from you and what makes you the best fit for them. So especially in your case, there is a certain demographic that's going to relate to you more than they would relate to me because of age, because of experiences, because of time of life, all of those things. And so part of what you've got to figure out is who are you best able to communicate with. But what I want you to move beyond is all of the business jargon and get down to the personal. Why would I want to do business with Jeremiah? Because here's what he brings to the table that nobody else does. Does that make sense?
Yeah, very, very helpful. Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Thanks for letting me use you as my guinea pig here and pushing on you a little bit, because I think you've got some potential to really improve your results if you can dial some of these things in.
Gotcha.
Okay, somebody else, what sets you apart from your competition? Yeah. Why you? Especially those of you who are captive agents. Why you versus the other State Farm agent down the street? Or if you're a farmer's agent, why you versus the farmer's agent down the street? Now, there you go, Mike, you're more awesomer. Someone else, what sets you apart? Okay. We won't stand here too much longer on this one. Let's go to that next one. What benefit do you offer your customer avatar that's going to resonate with them? And I'm going to give you a little help here. When I started this presentation, one of the things that I gave you in my bio was my financial advisory experience. The reason I gave you that is to let you know that I'm familiar with insurance regulations. I'm familiar with compliance departments. And I understand, I used to call my compliance department the production reduction team. It seemed like every great advertising idea I had, they had a compliance reason why I needed to change it. But what that does is it gives me relatability. That's one of those resonate things. Hey, I get it. I've been in a compliance heavy environment before. I understand what it means to market in down markets. I understand what it means to build a business when you go through tough economic times. So there's a resonating that I'm able to do that other competitors can't. And so that's the thing I want you to be thinking about. Why would they resonate with you? What experiences can you bring to the table that are going to really help people feel at ease with you as you go? So let's move on here. Let's talk about messaging that works. Maybe your messaging is this: I offer personalized service. If you call the office, you're going to get a live human being. You're not going to get an automated answering machine. Maybe that's something that's going to be important to your customer avatar. Maybe it's straightforward pricing or upfront pricing or satisfaction guaranteed. When we give you a quote, that's where your quote's at. And if there's any variables due to underwriting, we're going to tell you up front. Here's the big one, though, I think, for you guys. Whether you're a real estate agent, whether you're an insurance agent, you are a trustworthy local advisor or expert. And here's my little golden nugget for you. I would choose one section of your business and I would become the expert in that area. And let me explain what I mean by that. As a Series 7 advisor, I was also life and accident and health insurance licensed. And one of the things that I focused on was wealth transfer. And so what I would do is I would find a farmer or a real estate owner that had highly appreciated assets that they wanted to transfer intergenerationally. So Joe has a piece of farm ground, a couple thousand acres that's been in the family for years. He wants to transfer it to his children. However, the tax implications are terrible. So how do we avoid taxes and transfer the wealth to another generation? And so what we would do is we would use life insurance for that wealth transfer case. We would put a life insurance trust around it. We would donate the asset to a charitable trust. We would use the income from that to fund the life insurance. And we were able to do really big life insurance cases off of that. Now, the reason I tell you that is, oh, you're welcome, Eric. It's recorded. So I'll send out the recording link later. So what that did is I became the go-to expert in wealth transfer. If you're a farmer with appreciated assets, you want to transfer them and help your kids avoid the tax bill, give me a call and I'll walk you through how to structure this. So the reason I say that is I would pick an area of your business and I would become the go-to local expert in that thing. Maybe it's a topic of business insurance. Maybe it's a topic of life insurance. Maybe it's a topic of auto insurance, or Sue, in your case, it's something to do with your local real estate market. But become the expert in that thing, not just a general services provider. Because people love to work with experts. And here's what happens when you're the expert: you can just make recommendations and people will take the recommendations because you're the expert. Kind of like going to the doctor. Give me a 1 in the chat if that makes sense. Perfect. All right, let's move on here. So you got to make the case why you're the go-to person. Fast turnaround of policy applications, money-saving offers, dedicated customer managers, clean-cut professional staff, great service guaranteed. What are the things that you're going to put in your marketing? How are you going to phrase things to give that avatar a good feeling about you and what you do. So the question is, what's your message? I'd like you to take a minute, just write that down. What is your core message? At the end of the day, what is it that people need to know about you in your community? Is it just that you're Mike Hansen, State Farm agent? Or is it that Mike is the go-to expert in this thing? What's your message? Okay, we're going to go ahead and move on to write that down when you got it. So now let's talk about the how. We've got what our message is, who it is we're talking to, how we're going to present ourselves in the marketplace. Now we got to talk about how are we going to get that message to them. And we have to make sure that our hub converts, because that's where we're going to do most of our business. And when we talk about your hub, we mean your website. And so we've got to look at, how does the hub convert? Ideally, what's going to happen is, as people come into our website, we're going to feed them back out to our social media so that they connect with us there. And then through our social media, we're going to send them right back into our website for more information. So what we're doing is we're creating this spider web effect in our marketing, realizing that people use multiple modalities in their decision-making process. So they need to be connecting with us on the website, on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Instagram, any of the places that you're allowed to market and deploy your message. But here's the other piece. Your website has to be set up to convert visitors to leads. And so this is one of our clients here, and I'm going to give you two examples because a lot of you are captive agents. So this is for an independent agent. This is US Home and Auto Group out of Baltimore, Maryland. As soon as you land on their page, you're hit with one thing. We'd like you to fill out a form and request a quote, period. So as soon as you land, there's a call to action. If you click up here on the phone number, it's a live link. It's a one-click call on mobile. And so what we're trying to do is make that conversion happen very quickly when somebody lands on the site. Mike, is it okay with you if I use your site for a minute? Okay. When you get to Mike's website, of course, it's a corporate site. So they've already got some of these things already done for you. The phone number's a live link. You click it, it goes right to the office. But there are some things Mike is doing that not every agent does. Number one, he's got all of his social profiles right here. So as soon as I land on his site, I can go connect with him in all these other places. Next thing that State Farm's done well, right there, it's hitting me front and center, get a quote. So we're asking them to take action. Call us, submit a form. So we've got 3 distinct call to actions that bring us right to the office. Then we've got these other calls to actions that are a little more secondary, but they're still going to connect us at a deeper level with Mike. And so one of the things you want to do if you're a State Farm agent, make sure you've got all these boxes ticked on your site. Make sure you've got all your social profiles here. Make sure all your phone numbers and links are accurate, that everything's up to date as it should be. Mike's got his reviews here. They're being pulled in. Just make sure everything is set up the way it needs to. And then down here, you want to make sure in your About Me section, you're really speaking to your avatar. Now, obviously, if you're working with us or you're working with another SEO firm, we're going to try and craft that so that that About section ranks really well in the search engines. But this is part of that optimization process. And the reason this becomes so important is when your site is optimized well, what's going to happen is you're going to get a much lower cost per lead because you're not having to put paid advertising behind that. And even if you are running paid advertising, we want that site to convert well. Ideally, we like to see websites that we build convert at 30% or better when we get traffic to them. Again, if you're a State Farm agent, farmer's agent, American, lost my train of thought, American Family, you've got corporate sites, you only have so much control over it, but they should be doing some of this optimization work. So what we're looking at is, in this case, they had 1,477 total leads. Their total expenditure on their marketing was $2,490 for the month. Their cost per lead is $1.69 per lead. Out of that, 375 were organic phone calls, 1,071 were calls from Google Maps, 31 of these were from web forms. So because the website converts well, they get a really low cost per lead, and that's something that we want to see happen. Now, I actually stole this from a company that a friend of mine runs that works with plumbers, but it'll give you all the things you want to make sure of. You want to make sure that your city is named on here. You want to make sure that your name is as it should be, that there's a clickable phone number, you've got your social media icons. You've got to wait for them to fill out a form and contact you. Ideally, you want a map on there, you want star ratings, you want testimonials. You want to make sure the website is mobile responsive. For those of you that are captive agents, yours will already be that way. But the reason for that is 40% of searches are mobile, and you want to make sure you've got a one-touch click-to-call phone number on that site as well. You want to make sure the name, address, and phone number are consistent through Google Business and all your other directories. You want testimonials, your unique selling proposition, which is the why you, why should I be choosing you? And then calls to action put through your content on the site as well. And then again, is your website set up for conversion? Does it speak to your avatar? Does it address their fears and frustrations and speak to why they should choose you? Does it have images of your team on the homepage and throughout the site? I see a lot of agents just go with stock images. That doesn't ring the emotional bell. I want to know who it is I'm doing business with. If you're allowed to use video on your website, are you using video? It will keep people on the page longer. It also makes more of an emotional connection with the audience. Are you showcasing your online reviews more prominently on your homepage? Do you make it easy for them to take action and get in touch with you? Are the basics in order? Phone number? Is there a web form they can fill out? Are there credibility symbols that you could add to your website? Is there a call to action on each page? Speak to your customer avatar and tell them what to do next. Get a quote, call now, call us today. Are you giving them the opportunity to engage via chat? Obviously, if you're a captive agent, you're probably not going to have that opportunity. If you're independent, you can certainly put that functionality on your website. And then the same thing, are you using marketing automation and SMS to maximize your lead conversion rates? So one of the things I would look at in your CRM, do you have an email sequence that goes out almost immediately when somebody fills out a form on your site so that they get those quick touches? So what you want to do is just look at your website. Is it built to convert? Is there anything you need to tweak? Pull it up, take a quick look at it, and just make some notes as you go. Here's the biggest marketing issue right now that's facing insurance agents. You're going to want to pay attention to this. And that is unconverted leads. And so what we find is about 50 to 60% of your inbound traffic is going to leave unconverted. And about 90% of web forms fail to convert. For those of you that are State Farm agents, you know in your Miras system, you might see 30 quote starts in your Miras system, but if you look at the bottom of the funnel, you may not see near that many new applications coming through. And that's what we're getting at. Web forms are good to capture information, but they don't necessarily convert well. I'll give you an example. This webinar in particular, we were supposed to have 23 in attendance. We ended up with 8. That's a typical web form funnel. You're going to lose more than half coming through that process. Whole lot better if we can get them on the phone, if we can get a message to them those types of things. So here's what we're finding is that leads that are not followed up within 15 minutes go cold. The average customer needs to be followed up 5 to 7 times before they're going to become your customer. And then today's consumer actually prefers to interact via text messages versus phone call or email if they have the choice. So I don't know if you can make that an option, but if you can, it works well. So here's the solution. You want to leverage marketing automation to follow up with your web forms within the first 2 minutes. At the very least, have an email that goes out that acknowledges and gives next steps. If possible, have a phone call that's placed or a text message that is sent out as well. And then if you can automate that follow-up so that every prospect is touched 5+ times and able to engage in a two-way text message session, you're going to find your conversion rates actually go up a whole lot more. And so let's just break down the math on that as well. If you get 100 leads, your conversion rate's 30%. That's 30 applications out of those 100 leads. Your average revenue is $1,000. That means those 100 leads are going to net you $30,000 in revenue. If we up our conversion rate to 70% using automated follow-up, now those same 100 leads produce 70 applications, same metrics. Now we've taken our revenue to 70,000 out of those same 100 leads. So part of what we're looking for is how can we increase our conversion rate? And that may be something as simple as an email follow-up sequence. There may be some text messages you want to send out. Figure out what modality your avatar utilizes most and best, and you'll up your conversion rates. You noticed in preparation for this webinar, our automation sequence was both email and text message. We went after you from both directions, knowing that some of you are email people, some of you are text message people. Does that make sense? Give me a 1 in the chat if you're following along here. All right, cool. Coming down into the home stretch here. So let's make every lead you generate more valuable. And part of the way we're going to do that is we're going to just up our game. So let's implement these steps into your business. So here's your next action item. What 3 conversion elements do you need to put on your website or implement on your website? So when you pull it up, you take a quick look at it. What's missing? Do you need to put more personalized language in there to speak to your avatar? Do you need to put your social connections in there so somebody can connect with you in other places? Do you need to put your phone number in more places? What are the things that maybe you need to adjust or tweak to improve the conversion on your website? You might even need a little bit of hypnotic language in there. Words like call now, call today, get a quote now, where you're giving an instruction. So those are some things that you can write down. Okay, so some takeaways, real quick. What did you learn? What did you notice? Is there anything you'd want to share? Anybody want to jump out real quick?
Wow, so much, man. This was really good information. It's hard for me to come up with a specific, but probably the one that I intend on spending quite a bit of time on is the reason why people would do business with me. Why would they do business with our agency? What drives them in here? That slide that you beat Jeremiah up on. That's really got me thinking about what we're doing.
Okay, good. Good. Anybody else? Any takeaways you want to share? Okay, well, let's move on here. Get ready to land the plane here momentarily. So we want to know and track our KPIs. If you don't measure correctly, you're not going to know where you're at. I'm going to give you really what you should be measuring. You want to be measuring your organic activity. So that would be phone calls from your website, phone calls from your Google Business profile. You want to be measuring your pay-per-click phone calls. You want to be measuring your Google Maps calls. And you want to be measuring your web form submissions. So in this case, if you total all those up, they had 513 total leads. Their total ad spend and marketing spend for the month was $7,484.98, which meant their average cost per lead was $14.59 per lead. So this is going to help you figure out, are you landing leads at a decent rate? And part of this for you to realize is you can go out and buy leads, but leads aren't exclusive to you if you're buying those leads. When we talk about this type of lead flow, it is lead flow that is unique to you. It's not being sold to anybody else. It's not being offered to anybody else. It's coming through your own system. Yep, absolute game changer. So here's what we've done so far. We've got a clear goal and target for 2023. We've got clarity around our market, our message, and our media. We made sure that our website is optimized for conversion, and we've set up a simple KPI tracking dashboard to get you going. So again, what you want to track is your Google Business calls, your Google Business messages, your form submissions, your calls from pay-per-click. Those are the main things you're going to be measuring. If you're doing Facebook, Instagram, those things, or you're getting messages there, you may want to count those in as well. That's going to be your lead flow. Divide that out by what you're spending on marketing, and that will tell you what you're landing those leads for. So let's talk a few key trends of 2023. Then I'm going to give you a quick case study, and we'll be done. And again, you'll have a recording. I know I've thrown a lot at you, so you'll be able to go back through that as well. Here's some key trends you need to be very aware of. Google Business Profile dominance, shift from phone conversion to message conversion, and a must-have all-in perspective, SEO, PPC, local service ads, social media. And the reason I say that is too many business owners think there's one magic bullet that's going to make it happen. And the truth is, it's creating an ecosystem that's really going to drive business for you. And so let's talk about that for a minute. Here's a Google search, auto insurance, Wichita, Kansas. A couple things I want to point out to you. There's ads up here. There's ads up here. And then these are all Google Business Profile listings. So when you look at how this page is structured, this is what Google's putting up first. If you're in an area where you can run local service ads, then local service ads are going to be on top of this. And what Google is moving towards is a flowing page that doesn't have 10 spaces. It's just going to have continual information. If we were to scroll down this page, we would also have organic results, we would have questions and answers, and we would have more advertising. So that's what you want to understand, is this is where Google's moving. And the reason they're moving in this direction is they would like to get to the place that I never have to go to your website to do business with you, that I can stay in Google's environment the whole time. And the reason they want that is because they're collecting data on me. And so I am the product, and the longer they can keep me in their ecosystem, the more profitable I become to them as a user. So one of the things they've put in here, your business profile now has a Google tracked number. If you pull up your Google Business Profile on a mobile, you may see a phone number that's not your office number. And that's because Google has assigned a tracking number to it so they can track phone calls that are coming in. If you look at what else they have on here for your avatar, they've got your ratings and reviews, they've got customer feedback, they've got questions and answers, they've got your hours. They are trying to answer anything that your customer might want to ask without ever having to send them to your website. And then when you look at the breakdown, you've got Google Ads here, Google Business here, Google SEO here. It's showing me places I've already viewed. If you go below here, here's a question and answer section. So that is the layout that's happening. So your Google Business Profile is now equally as important, if not in some cases more important, than even your website itself. So I don't know if you were aware of that, but you've got to start to pay more attention to what's happening with your Google Business Profile. Here's how it works. It's a one-stop information source that allows a prospect to do research prior to making their buying decision. It's going to display the business profile in both map searches and traditional organic searches. It has call tracking capabilities and messaging capabilities. The customer never leaves Google. That's the key point. Here's some feedback from people who are really using this. It is becoming a major organic lead source for them. You tend to get a higher quality lead than you do from purchased leads, but lower than website generated leads. You still get some price shoppers and you do have to follow up quickly. And you will tend to get a solid return on investment from most clients who have been generated from this piece of online real estate. The next steps with your Google Business Profile, make sure you've claimed it, complete the location verification, fill out all available sections. Don't forget the question and answer section. You can actually, as the business, ask the questions and answer the questions. So if you've got a list of frequently asked questions that your customers are giving you, go ahead and put those in that Q&A section. Actively seek regular reviews. What we're finding is Google loves a pace of about 1 new review every 2 weeks. And then be sure you're posting photos from your smartphone and posts on a regular basis. And the reason this is important is your smartphone photos are tagged with GPS coordinates. And it will help Google tie your business location to a particular geographic area because of the GPS coordinates on those smartphone photos. And then you want to build out your 2023 plan. So you need to figure out which of these elements you want to incorporate. I'm going to send you a copy of this ecosystem infographic. So you've got that to look over, but they're in numerical order based on importance. Here at ABM, we basically hang our hat on a few things: SEO, paid search, which is search ads, retargeting those search ads, online directory management, getting reviews and referrals, and social media advertising. That's what we've built our business around. That's what we find moves the needle the most for our clients. And real quick, as a case study, and he's on here, so if you want to know more about him, reach out to him later. Mike Hansen is going to be our case study that I want to present to you real quick because his numbers are just good. Basically, what we're using here with him is SEO, search ads, retargeting, online directories, and we've got his social media presence as well. Based in Caldwell, Idaho, 5-year State Farm agent. Mike, these are your most recent numbers. I actually pulled these, so this will save us our call here in a few minutes. I pulled these yesterday. Total ad spend, this would have been the 30 days previously, $1,705.09, 172 leads. Average cost per lead is $9.91. And you've been writing 130 to 150 new applications a month. And I think if you told me correctly, 180 was your high so far here in recent months. Is that right?
That's correct.
Yeah, 180 applications. So Mike is doing a tremendous business. He's leading his region. His goals for this next year, revenue wise, are pretty amazing. Some people are looking to do their first $1 million in revenue. He's looking to add another $1 million in revenue this next year. So he's going to have some big targets. But I want you to see that this is, when we do this correctly, this is how this works out. Also in our conversation before, when he was buying leads, the closing ratio was about 9 to 10% on those leads. Is that what it was?
9-10% conversion ratio.
Yeah,
Okay.
when you were buying
Oh,
leads.
yeah, on the iLeads, yeah. Well, it was, it was about yeah, a little under 10%, but about that.
Okay, so about
Okay.
10%. And now your lead to conversion rate's about 40%, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So again, all the things we're teaching today, Mike is a great case study for. If you want, after we're done, I'll send you a link to his case study interview. Go out and watch it. There's a lot of good nuggets there for you, but he's proof this works. Here's your other bonus for this deal. Great, 700,000 this year. Congratulations. I'm going to give you a marketing checklist. You can download it at Agent Branding and Marketing /checklist. And you can just go through this and see, do you have all these components in place in your marketing? And if there's anything you need to change up, you can certainly do that. And then we've got your ecosystem graphic. You can download your worksheet that you've been working on if you don't have that at this link as well. And then takeaways, we already talked about what'd you learn. If there's anything you want to share, feel free to throw that in the chat, but I want to be mindful of our time because we're already at 90 minutes. So here's what we covered. We set our goals for 2023, how many leads to hit your target, 3 fundamentals of marketing success, how to optimize the website for conversion in 2023, the big picture of all your marketing channels, how to maximize your lead flow, the latest trends that you have to be aware of in 2023. And then we developed your action plan about where you're at now and what you need to do next. The 2 bonuses for you are the checklist. I gave you the link for that because I know everybody on this call. I'll just email you the infographic as well. So you can study that on your own time. And then if you are our client, you want to talk about this further, just reach out to us by email to your account manager and schedule a time with them. And if you're not already our client, we'd love to help you implement some of these things as well. And there's a link there to schedule time on my calendar. So any questions as we close out thank you for that, Mike. Any questions that I can answer for anybody? Or anything you want us to dive back into before we go? All right, I'm going to give us 20 seconds on that. So speak now or forever hold your peace. All right, well, we will call that a webinar, and I'm going to close off the recording. Thanks for spending this last hour and a half with me. I hope that this was helpful to you. And then if there's anything you need us to work with you on, feel free to reach out to me. Talk to you soon.